Tonight on News Prime, President Tinubu, Fubara, Ogoni leaders meets in Aso Rock. And the Business Trade Union Congress rejects VAT hike and urges pro-people tax reforms. And the first Vice President of the United States swears in the ex-Florida Senator Marco Rubio as U.S. Secretary of State. At the sports, Nigeria record historic victory over New Zealand. Hello and welcome to News Prime on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Edikan Michael. A quick reminder that DS Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and StarTimes channel 276 and free to air on Nicomsat. Tonight, we begin that President Tinubu has called the meeting with Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara and the leaders of Ogoni land at the presidential villa in Abuja. Also present at the meeting was the Group Chief Executive Officer of the Nigeria National Petroleum Company Limited, Mele Kyari, the Minister of Environment, Minister of Environment of State, Minister of Information and National Orientation, Idris Mohammed, Minister of Regional Development, Abubakar Momo, and the National Security Advisor, Malam Ribadu. Although the agenda of the meeting was not made public, it may not be unconnected to the Ogoni cleanup and the resumption of the oil exploration in Ogoni land. Our federal government has congratulated U.S. President Donald Trump on his inauguration as the 47th President of the United States of America. The federal government, in a message conveyed by the spokesperson for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Kemibi Ebiamfa, stressed the strong and historic ties between the two nations, highlighting their shared cooperation in areas such as good governance, sustainable development, and the fight against terrorism and violent extremism. It expressed Nigeria's commitment to strengthening its strategic partnership with the United States under President Trump's leadership, intending to advance the interests and well-being of both nations' citizens. Our President Tinubu has approved the Federal Polytechnic in Gwarinpa, one of the largest estates in the nation's capital, Abuja, which is to be named after him. In a letter addressed to the Minister of Federal Capital Authority, Joseph Wike, and the Minister of Education, Tunji Alausa, the federal government approved the establishment of Bola Ahmed Tinubu Polytechnic, Gwarinpa, to promote technological, vocational, and entrepreneurial training in line with the national policy on education. The letter signed by the Education Minister requested the FCC Minister to suggest the proposed locations for the temporary and the permanent site in Gwarinpa for the tech hub of the institution, noting that approval will be given based on the report to be presented by the technical team from the Federal Ministry of Education and the National Board of Technical Education after inspecting the recommended locations. Meanwhile, the federal government has launched the National Health Fellows Program designed to engage young Nigerians in improving the public health. Spread across all the 774 local government areas, the government invites applications from individuals aged between 25 and 35 with a particular focus on health-related disciplines, social sciences, and IT. The presidency said that individuals will be remunerated and equipped with the appropriate tools to drive positive change in the health sector as part of the government's strategy to improving the health sector by harnessing the skills and energy of young people who will receive stipends and necessary resources for their work. Around the Socio-Economic Right and Accountability Project has given President Bola Tinubu 48 hours to revise a recent 50% telecom tariff hike. SORAP, in a statement, said failure to do so by the Tinubu administration means they will be charged in court. Recall that the Nigeria Communications Commission on January 20 approved the raising of telecom tariff by 50%. What shareholders believe was approved in a bid to improve telecom services. Now, Kaduna State High Court again denied ex-chief of staff to former Governor Nasir Rufai of Kaduna State, Alhaji Bishiru Sadiu. The court ordered that he be sent back to remand in a correctional facility after being charged with 10 counts bordering on alleged money laundering, embezzlement, and stealing. When the case came up for mention before Justice Aliu, the 10 charges were read to the hearing of the defendant, who pleaded not guilty. Now, the National Conference in Kano regarding the position of the Northern women of the proposed tax reform bills by President Bola Tinubu, experts say there are many lapses to address despite some modifications to the bill. Our correspondent Idris Jibril was there and our report.
Organized by the Women's Wing of the Coalition of Northern Groups, this national conference is to deliberate on how women are affected by the controversial tax reform bill in Nigeria. Women from the 19 northern states and the Federal Capital Territory argued that the bills do not in any way represent their aspiration in the region.
Well, my expectations are high, and like I said, I asked them. Most of them do not really know much about the tax reform bill. But to the glory of God Almighty, they are now aware that issues concerning the tax reform bill is very important that their voices are heard. So I believe that after this program, I'm going to get feedbacks, positive feedbacks from them. Their contributions is going to help when I tender my reports.
Although several modifications have been made to erase doubts in the minds of some Nigerians regarding the provisions of the bills, these people argued that the need for lawmakers to ensure transparency is crucial. At the end of this conference, expert believes that women will be fully mobilized to further understand the role they are expected to play in ensuring that the bill does not affect the overall well-being of Nigerians.
Nigerians are not enjoying. People are suffering. Over 90% of Nigerians are suffering with the current policies, ill policies that are designed by this administration. Unpopular policies, inhuman policies, ungodly policies that are only meant to make Nigerians to suffer. This is the situation we are. Actually, we went to Plateau last week. We interact with the market women and so many other women groups. But unfortunately, they were saying it very clearly. They never knew what the tax reform bill is all about. Nobody even taught them what is the tax reform bill. They never knew anything about it. And they were convinced beyond any iota of doubt that there is consolidation of levies. That's why I said there is difference between tax and levies. Nobody should deceive you by telling you there is consolidation of taxes. Levy is clearly different, and levy is what stopped market women in Nigeria.
Those in attendance include the chairman of the Council of Ulama, Sheikh Ibrahim Khalil, leader of the Coalition of Northern Groups, Nastura Asher, among other notable Nigerians. From Kano, Idris Jibrin reporting for Global Television News.
The Nigerian Extractive Industry Transparency Initiative has endorsed the 2024 tax reform bill currently being debated at the National Assembly. Highlighting a memo on its position signed by the Executive Secretary Orji Obonaja and addressed by the leadership of the National Assembly and the chairman of the Presidential Committee on Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms, which is leading the reform process, identified areas needed to improve the policy gaps in the bill. The police command in Akwa Ibom has commenced the sensitization campaign to ensure public compliance with the directive and vehicle owners to obtain the third-party insurance. The Commissioner of Police in Akwa Ibom, Baba Azare, said in Uyo that the campaign will deepen public understanding and acceptance of the policy. He said that the police in Akwa Ibom was fully ready to enforce the directive of the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Ebotuku, adding that the third-party insurance was a compulsory legal requirement for all vehicle owners to operate their vehicles on public roads. Elsewhere in the news, the Pediatric Association of Nigeria has raised the alarm over the increasing rate of the malnutrition among children in Nigeria, saying that it is a direct or underlying factor in about 45% of childhood death in the country. She disclosed this in Government State of the Association's 56th Annual General Meeting and Scientific Conference. The professor of the pediatrics and the consultant pediatric cardiologist noted that the recent challenges of exchange rate, high costs of fuel, and low wages have jointly reduced the financial capability of many families, leading to the low food security and inadequate food supply. You're watching the live broadcast of News Prime on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. When News Prime returns, Corporate Affairs Commission CSC registers 100,000 points of sale operators. We shall bring you those details as well as foreign, sports and business after this break. Please stay with us. Many thanks everyone for staying with the house. Now to business news. World Bank Group has announced a 30-month debarment of two Nigerian companies alongside the managing director and chief executive officer Norman Didam for fraudulent, collusive and corrupt practices linked to the National Social Safety Net project in Nigeria. The World Bank disclosed that the project aimed to provide a targeted financial assistance to poor and vulnerable households was compromised due to several unethical practices during the 2018 procurement and subsequent contract process. The bank says that Viva Atlantic Limited, Technology House Limited and Didam misrepresented a conflict of interest in their bids and accessed the confidential tender information from public officials. Our Trade Union Congress of Nigeria has opposed the proposed increase in the value-added tax rates as outlined in the federal government tax reform bills, and are warning that the move could worsen the economic hardship faced by Nigerians. The federal government had proposed a first VAT hike from the current 7.5% to 10%, with a 12.5% and ultimately 15%, a move that TUC described as a ill-timed and detrimental to the welfare of citizens already grappling with inflation, unemployment, and the soaring costs of living. Speaking during the press briefing in Abuja following the union's National Executive Council meeting held on November 26, 2024, TUC President Festus Osivo says that maintaining the VAT rate at 7.5% was crucial to safeguarding Nigerians from additional financial pressure. Now, the Registrar General of the Corporate Affairs Commission, Azani Maji, has disclosed that 100,000 point of sale operators have officially registered their businesses with the Commission under its POS formalization project. According to the Nigeria Interbank Settlement System, there are over 1.9 million POS terminals deployed by the merchants and individuals nationwide. Speaking of the in-house enforcement and compliance training for state offices, the Registrar General stated that the current number of registrations is a significant shortfall compared to the 250,000 registrations that were expected for the initiative, which was launched on July 7, 2024 and concluded on September 5, 2024. Now, the Presidential Enabling and Business Environment Council is set to establish commercial court and subnational councils as part of effort to improve the country's business climate. Our project manager at Secretariat Amia disclosed his initiative in a statement highlighting a 2025 Outlook document. The council noted the establishment of a nationwide presence was central to its 2025 work plan to drive the ease of doing business, chiefly through the subnational reforms and a commercial court for easier business arbitration. The digital token known as Trump Dollar, which launched on Friday, saw its price jump from the less than $10 on Saturday to a peak of $74.54 before adjusting slightly on Monday. According to report, the surge in the Trump Dollar value came just ahead of Trump's return to the White House, and the token's rise drew attention, with trading volume hitting billions of dollars. As the trading of at about 145, the coin was trading at $46.93, giving it a market cap of $9.4 billion. Around the fourth scene, despite suggestions U.S. President Donald Trump returns would overshadow the World Economic Forum that began on the Sunday. As his inauguration in Washington, the forum's president, Bojit Brendan, says that the president has brought fresh interest in the annual gathering of business and political leaders. Bojit Brendan, World Economic Forum president, is casting a long shadow over the Swiss airline resort where corporate and political leaders will debate its policies on conflict, trade, taxes, immigration, and climate change, among others. Now, from that, U.S. President Donald Trump has vowed to seize the Panama Canal, imploring that Russia is to make a deal on Ukraine. It's only his first hours back as president. Trump also moved to withdraw the United States from the Paris Climate Accord, and the World Health Organization halted the Cuba as the listing from its state sponsors of terrorism blacklist and symbolically, but provocatively announced he was rechristening the Gulf of Mexico as the Gulf of America. In its own vein, the World Health Organization, WHO, has expressed regret over an announcement that the United States intends to withdraw from the organization. The global health body urged the U.S. to reconsider the decision of exercising its crucial role in protecting global health, including that of Americans. The organization highlighted its work in addressing the root causes of diseases, strengthening health systems, and responding to health emergencies, often in a challenging environment where others cannot operate. Meanwhile, American politician, diplomat, and attorney Marco Rubio has been sworn in as the United States of America Secretary of State. Now, the swearing-in was conducted by the Vice President James Vance, and in his new role, Rubio is expected to play a pivotal part in shaping U.S. foreign policy, particularly concerning relations with China and Latin America. Now moving to other part of the world, at least 66 people have been killed in a fire that engulfed its popular Turkish resort hotel, leaving some to jump out of the windows. And now the fire broke out of the wooden-clad and 12-story Grand Catol Hotel at 3:27 local time, and during the busy holiday period when 234 people were staying there. Now, initial toll of 10 dead was raised significantly in the hours after the fire by Turkey's Interior Ministry, and now at least 2 people died after trying to jump for the safety. Now moving to sport news tonight, former Chelsea star John Obi Mikel has landed in Istanbul for discussions with Nigerian forward Victor Osimhen, who continues to attract intense transfer interest. The Galatasaray striker, currently on loan from Napoli, has been linked with Manchester United, Arsenal, and Chelsea ahead of the January transfer deadline. And now Mikel, who remains a passionate advocate for Chelsea, has been vocal about his desire to see Osimhen wear the Blues jersey, as Arsenal are actively exploring ways to secure the 26-year-old services after Manchester United's €59 million bid was rejected. Manchester City has also announced that they had completed the signing of teenage defender Vitor Reyes from the Brazilian club Palmeiras for a reported fee of €29.6 million. The 19-year-old Brazilian youth international has signed a 4.5-year deal with the Premier League champions and now expresses excitement to join Manchester City, one of the biggest clubs in the world. He said working with Pep Guardiola is something every young player wants to do, adding that he knows Guardiola can help him to develop into the best player he can be. Nigeria's junior female Yellow Green celebrated a historic moment at the 2025 ICC Under-19 Women's T20 World Cup in Malaysia, including their first ever win at the tournament with a thrilling 2-round victory over the third-place nation, New Zealand. And after rain in Sarawak delayed their opening game against the Samoa on Saturday, the Nigerian team finally took center stage. And despite another rain delay pushing the start by over 2 hours and reducing the match to 13 overs per side, Nigeria's resilience shone through. As we wrap up the news prime on Global TV, let's take a look at the top stories. We told you President Tinubu earlier met with Rivers State Governor Simile Fubara and the leaders of Ogoniland at the Presidential Villa, Abuja. On the business, the Trade Union Congress of Nigeria are opposing the proposed increase in the value-added tax rate as outlined in the federal government tax reform bills. Now on the phone scene, we told the American politician, diplomat Anthony Marco Rubio has been sworn in as the United States Secretary of State. And finally, sport, we told you Nigeria's junior female Yellow Green celebrated a historic moment at the 2025 ICC Under-19 Women's T20 World Cup in Malaysia, clinching their first ever win at the tournament with a thrilling 2-round victory over third-place nation New Zealand. And that's a package on News Prime, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. A quick reminder that Global TV is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276 and free to air on ICOMSAT. You can follow us on the platform at Global TV NG. On behalf of the entire production team, we say thank you for joining us on News Prime. My name is Edikan Michael. See you again.